You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same.
I'm not ready to end the fight. I'm not ready to back down. 'Cause I've been through hell and I don't have time to go round and round and round. It's too late to turn back now. You know I wouldn't if I could. 'Cause I'm proud as hell. I can't bring myself to do what it is you think I should.
All right, good evening, folks. This is the Jenn and Rick Show. Sorry, I'm a little off my game tonight. It's been a really long week already, and it's only Tuesday. Speaking of long week, the news keeps getting crazier and crazier. Now, before we get into the topics of the day and everything else that we're going to talk about today, I'm going to give my co-host a chance to come on and say hello and good evening, and I just want to give a shout-out to a couple of guys hanging out in the chat room. Good evening, Slick and Ron. How are you? And we're live, of course, right here on KLRNRadio.com.
Well, hello. I am happy to be chatting with you.
She sounds real happy. I'm just playing.
Well,
it sounds like one of those things my wife says when she really doesn't mean it, but that's okay. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Just then I was like looking at this. I hate this about websites, but I'm like looking at this website for one of the topics we're going to be talking about, just getting a little extra info. And of course, like a video starts to play like right as you're like, and introduce yourself, Jen. So I was trying frantically to like get rid of it while I was saying what I was. But yeah, I'm also hanging out in the chat room with Ron and Slick, two of my faves.
Oh, no, like I said, just mainly giving you a hard time. It's just...
I know.
It's just fun sometimes. So, I mean, at this point, news is kind of all over the place, all over the map. For those of you who don't know, I guess before we get too far into the topics of the day, this week has been an odd week for me. Last week ended well. It was my anniversary. My wife and I planned on taking a small trip. We went out of town for what was supposed to be 2 days. It wound up lasting about a day and a half. We woke up at 3:30 in the morning and found out that a relative had passed, and then found out that two other friends that both she knew and one of the brothers of the relative that passed had also passed right around, oddly enough, right around the same time. And no, it wasn't like in a car accident or anything. They had just all randomly just passed. So it's been a frantic week in between the beginning of football season for my youngest, who, by the way, is 1-0 on both varsity and junior varsity so far this year. Go Warriors. But it's in between trying to get back into the groove of full-time football dad, full-time day job, full-time radio gig, full-time trying to write, full-time everything else you could possibly think of. Now there's a funeral I have to go to on Friday, and I'm just like, yeah. And it's just one of those things where I hate getting old, I guess, because every time I turn around, somebody that I know is dying, and I hate being reminded that at some point we all die. I mean, you never used to think about that before you hit, like, probably, at least I didn't, until I probably hit about 30, 35 years old. Even with all the different things that I had gone through, it never had really dawned on me that at some point I'm just not going to be here anymore. And now I'm realizing that I'm getting to the point where I may or may not have more days behind me than I have ahead of me, and I'm just like, meh. So if I seem a little off my game tonight, it's because I realized that I'm mortal, and I don't like dealing with that very well.
Well, I'm like the opposite of you. I learned it very, very young. I experienced a lot of tragedy in high school amongst friends, all very, a few typical things that you expect to kind of happen as new teenagers, learn how to drive and are distracted and do stupid things. And then a few very random, bizarre accidents. So I kind of was me and my group of friends were a little ahead of the game as far as dealing with mortality goes. And we've all pretty much stayed friends and kind of had that outlook of, all of it's a gift. So it goes fast, and it doesn't discriminate by age, race, sex, anything. It's there when it's there. So, we just all have to hope we have our things in order and our heart right.
True enough there. Now, something else I want to talk about for a minute before we get into the main topics of the day. I made the mistake of turning on a radio show that I don't listen to very often anymore, and he spent the better part of the 15 minutes that I turned it on yelling about how he was going to hold everyone who refused to vote Trump accountable if Trump didn't win the election. When that's funny because we've been telling him and everyone else that would listen since like June of 2015, it ain't happening. but somehow it's going to be our fault if he loses. I'm so confused.
Yeah, when you posted that earlier, I was like, oh, what are you doing to yourself, Rick? It's been a bad enough week already. Why would you ruin it further by listening to him?
Well, it's just one of those things, I guess. I was bored, tried to revert to old habits, and forgot I can't stand him anymore.
Well, and that's kind of where I've been too. I have, I tune in here or there, especially if I'm out running errands or, my son and I are just at the park and he's just lollygagging around and playing with the other kids. I'll turn on talk radio and kind of catch a glimpse of some things. I've actually learned, though, now to mostly just listen to either pre-records or like previous days episodes of hosts and shows that I know, and then ones that I feel have not been so scarred by by this election and by the Trump train. So I mostly do that, but I still tune in every now and then. I'll catch some Hannity or heaven forbid Laura Ingraham, who's I don't know. I don't know which one's worse. They both are just like frothing at the mouth for him. So they're both hard to stomach. And then a little bit of Rush, who is less so, but disappointing nonetheless.
Yeah, well, I mean, with Rush, I honestly don't know where he's coming from on this, because it's like 1 minute you'll listen to him and it sounds like he's bought a ticket to the Trump train, and then he's cracking up laughing over the crazy crap that the campaign does. So I'm less inclined to believe that he has jumped on board with it, and more inclined that he just feels like he has to talk about it. And I mean, let's face it, a lot of folks talk about the Trump-Hillary situation. I think the only person that I hear on a regular basis who can somehow manage to almost never, and I mean never, mention Donald Trump is Dana Lash. And I'm not quite sure how she does it, because with as irritated as that man keeps me, it's pretty much all I ever want to talk about, especially when I keep hearing all these people tell me that they're going to hunt me down if he loses, and they're going to do this, and they're going to do that. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Here's my address. Come find me. I have a gun waiting for you. It's okay.
Yeah, agreed on Dana for sure. And she's just phenomenal at avoiding too much controversy on that topic. And I know what her feelings are. She's not been exactly shy about that. I mean, she was at the forefront of the National Review's Never Trump, issue and, memo that they put out. I know that she has known Trump for several years and had him on quite often. And he started boycotting her show even before the Never Trump stuff because she criticized him over praising Planned Parenthood. And he was supposed to go on her show a couple of days later, and his people called and, basically were like, no, like she was being punished. And so then she said, never asking again. So, and that's before, like I said, the hashtag Never Trump movement even began. So I think she tries not to pay him, not give him too much airtime, pretty much because of that fact, that he snubbed her for just the mildest of criticisms, and she's not going to give him more, and the mainstream media does plenty of it already, and, Fox obviously is pumping him every day. So I think she tries to find as much as possible, and also she likes to hit the Dems, so she tries to focus on that part of it instead of, people that are supposed to be representing our own party, which I think is smart. I'm not so great at that, but she's doing a bang-up job.
So just to make sure nobody missed it, you just said Fox was pumping Trump.
Yeah, interesting choice of words I had.
I'm just saying.
Which kind of leads us right into...
See, you knew why I was going there. So,
the newest Wienergate.
So, guess who's back in the news, folks? Guess. Take a guess. Take a wild guess. This guy right here.
Oh, I wish I were an Oscar Mayer wiener. That is what I truly like to be. 'Cause if I were an Oscar Mayer wiener,
I wouldn't. People would always take pictures with me. No, I'm just playing. All right, so anyway, Carlos Danger, a.k.a. Mr. Wiener, is back in the news, and he's done it again, and it's even creepier this time. Have you actually seen the picture that was going around? Because I only looked at it once, and it was enough to make me want to go punch him in the face.
Oh, of course I have. I'm needed to in order to be able to talk about it, right? I mean, it was just research. No, it actually came across my feed, and I was like, wait, is that what? Oh, my goodness. You've got to be kidding me.
So,
first of all, why the hell is he wearing white pants? I don't understand that. He shouldn't. That's his first misstep.
Come on, it's not after Labor Day yet. He can still wear white.
Men should not wear white pants.
Oh, come on. It worked for Sonny Crockett. Oh, wait, never mind.
Yeah, no, I don't know what, but he thinks he's a playboy, so that's why he's trying to do this, like, you know, kind of hipster, like, chic dressing thing that, whatever. He thinks he's, like, so much younger and so much more attractive than he is. But, and then, so he's doing that. He's got these white pants on. There's very obviously a kid laying, like, in the crook of his, like, ribs and hip area. It's not even like the kid is, like, up near his shoulder on the other side. Like, he's very close to the nether regions of which he is taking the picture. Yeah, I'm sitting there, and I know his son is 4, my son is 3. I'm going, oh my gosh. I mean, she had no choice. She had to bow out. I feel the worst for the son, and even though I don't like, you know, Yuma at all, I feel bad for her too, because nobody, I mean, this living something like this out not only once, but now twice, and completely in the public realm, and having it all splashed so embarrassingly all across the TV is just, it's so sickening. And it must be so embarrassing, especially knowing that you've given him, you know, multiple chances. But what an idiot. How can you be so dumb?
I mean, first of all, how could you do that with your kid in the picture?
Well, how does it even get like that? Anybody that hasn't seen the picture, I don't necessarily recommend Googling it, but he's feeling pretty good. And so how does that even happen with your kid laying, like, touching you? That screams all sorts of creepiness to me.
Creepy.
Also, by the way, did you catch that that supposedly this woman who came forward and provided the pic and, like, went to the press, that she's a Trump supporter?
Oh no, I hadn't. I had missed that part.
This I found. This actually, yeah, this was on CNN. CNN, a Donald Trump supporter told the New York Post that the two of them exchanged racy photos over the course of about a year, including one exchange where she alleges that he sexted her with his son apparently sleeping next to him. Someone just climbed in my bed, he wrote. He is then alleged to have sent a picture of a bare-chested man with white pants and a bulge while a small child is asleep beside him. What?
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
So he's deleted his social media. He deleted his Twitter, of course. And, you know, this is right about the time that I thought it was kind of actually funny. Like, it wasn't so fresh anymore, his first transgression, that, you know, when people would make jokes, he would chime in on them, and he sometimes burned himself. And it was actually kind of endearing that he was being so, like, you know, he was rolling with the flow with it and even, like, jumping out ahead of a bunch of the jokes. And then, no, he's just a scuzzball.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I don't know how you keep going back here. Look, I mean, at this point, we seriously need to start looking at whether or not this is a mental health issue. Because how many times is he going to keep doing the same stupid crap and keep having the same things happen over and over again? And look, again, like you said, I'm not a fan of Mrs. Wiener, but at the same time, yeah, you really got to feel sorry for her at this point, because she did what she thought was the right thing. And what is this? How many times has he actually done this now? Is this number 2 or number 3?
Well, this is number 2 publicly, but the reports are that there's been several.
Oh yeah,
I mean several that have not been reported, that they've, like, privately dealt with or settled or whatever else. So who knows? I mean, I think this is his deal. I mean, I think he's Carlos. that he thinks he's his alter ego. So that's what he's going with. I mean, I've known people that have been similar, not on this scale, but that have had they've struggled with fidelity. Let's just say that. And, aren't necessarily mentally deficient. I mean, they just are stupid and a little too cocky, pun intended. And, just, the second they get on the right track, then they get comfortable, then they get arrogant about that. And then they go down their own little, then they get just a little bit of temptation and they control it. So they think they're fine. And then they dip that toe in a little bit further and it just, then it gets out of control and it gets away from them. And I don't think all of them are necessarily head cases, but you do wonder, like, what kind of, some of it's like kind of adrenaline, some of it's, just needing that like tease or then needing the danger of it or the gonna get caught kind of thing. I don't know if he actually has like a problem or if he's just that big of an idiot and, doesn't necessarily hold his marriage vows sacred, which some people don't. Even if they do love their spouse, they don't hold the vows sacred. So that's unfortunately the way it is.
Probably a little of column A and a little of column B. But, and again, it's just one of those things where, I mean, maybe this time he'll stay off of social media altogether and not bring the account back. Can we try that, maybe, Mr. Wiener? Because I'm tired of seeing your pictures.
Wiener?
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. My favorite thing that I saw was, saying like, oh, this is the picture. This is the, blank pic that was sent from Anthony Weiner as a picture of Colin Kaepernick.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty funny. I mean, pretty grade A douche wearing his Castro shirt and his Malcolm X hat while preaching about oppression and injustice and inequality. So, you know what? They can just all go live in this happy little douchey world together. That's what I want to do. I want to create that place and throw them all in it.
Hey, I kind of like that idea. So, since we haven't really done radio since the Kaepernick things kind of came about, what are your thoughts on that? I'm just kind of curious.
So I think it's a little bit of a faux rage type thing. I think he's ridiculous and I think he's a jerk. And I think it was absolutely 100% a stunt. Like, bring awareness to what? He didn't make a statement until way later. Like, he's not, and even the statement he made was not very eloquent and it seemed a little bit like staged, but like, I'm going to, regurgitate this sentence that I heard. And it didn't seem very heartfelt, didn't seem impassioned. That I would maybe understand a little bit more. But I mean, pure and simple, this brought awareness to Colin Kaepernick, who is riding the bench this season and is going to be lucky to fulfill his contract at San Francisco. So I think it was much more of a stunt, and it was a stupid one at that. And I thought that, but I do think that, I mean, he has a right to not stand up. So that's kind of what we liberty-loving conservatarians, stand for, is that, even if I don't like it, like, you can sit down there and then NFL can decide what they want to do. They won't do jack because there's no real win for them in this. But this is also a man that was fined $11,000 after a, private investigation by the NFL after claims by a Bears lineman and confirmed by referees that he called them the N-word. So, and he was actually fined $11,000 by the league, which doesn't always happen without some sort of, if they don't believe that something actually went down and he claims he's innocent, then he's wearing, the socialist and commie stuff. And, I just think he's a big douche. He doesn't have a great reputation for charity, for his charitable work, nor does he. He works with Camp Taylor, but it's one of the few things that he does. And he doesn't have a great reputation in general in regards to fans or his teammates or anybody. So this idea that he has some big heart and really cares about this cause, I'm just going to go ahead and call bull.
You know, it's interesting they bring that up because one of the things that's been driving me crazy ever since this hit the news is, look, okay, so big deal. He's not going to stand up for the national anthem. Look, you might not like the fact that he does that, but the simple fact of the matter is people have died to give him the freedom to be a douche if that's what he chooses to do. My problem with it is there are too many people of color that have become very influential, that have gotten wealthy in this very, what they like to call, oppressive country, and yet they don't do anything but sit back on their hands and complain. You have money to actually affect change. So if you think something is really broken, why don't you find a school and sponsor it? Give the teachers money to go buy their school supplies. Buy even if it's just one class a year. Get them the money for the computers and stuff that they need. It's not like you can't afford it.
Talk to a police department and ask them about if you can do if you can pay for some sort of, community integration program where the cops go out and meet the community and talk to them and it's on your tab. I mean, there's a million things that he could do to actually affect change instead of sit his little punk bootay, and I couldn't say the word slick use, on the sidelines and pout like a child and act like he is doing something so profound. He's not.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not just him. I mean, I've seen even guys like Samuel L. Jackson come out and start making all this noise about all these different things, and I'm just thinking, look, dude, you can't tell me that you think this country is that terrible when you're sitting in a house that the fact that I used to love your movies helped pay for. I mean, if you think it's that bad, then do everybody a favor and either do something to fix it or get the hell out. But sit down and shut up if you're not going to do anything. I'm so tired of all these people that stand on the sidelines and yell and scream about how broken things are when they are literally the people that could be doing something to change it because they have the voice and they have people's attention and all they want to do is make themselves more... Oh, look how much he cares about the plight of people of his race because he's refusing to stand for the national anthem. No, he wants you to pay attention to him because because he's a worthless football player who was going to be on the bench for 99.9% of the season. So somebody please notice me so when I go to my next team, maybe I'll get some play time.
Yeah. And you know what, though? What I would be interested in hearing from him is maybe wanting to do some sort of education within the Black community since he was born to an unwed mother with an African-American father that was not in the picture. So he was then put up for adoption and given this chance at this incredible life that he has, the marks that he has made athletically, and the true dream of every little boy to become a professional athlete. Okay, most little boys. To become a professional athlete and to make millions at this level playing a game. He has literally won the American lottery. It'd be great if he would come out and talk to the Black community about the importance, let's say, of adoption if you can't support your own children, or how about the importance of having two parents in the home, of not trying your best not to get knocked up out of wedlock or, at a young age. I mean, these are all things that he was spared because his mother had the graciousness and fortitude to give him a better chance at life. And instead he's pointing fingers and trying to poke at the very community that took him in and raised him and helped him get the life that he has now. And I think that's the most egregious to me it's like that is completely blocked out of this entire narrative.
Yeah, but there's some karma there because you just mentioned the fact that, he's kind of trying to poke the eye of the white community, which are the folks that took him in. Apparently, a lot of the folks in the Black community aren't real happy with what he said either. And there's some people...
Right, that's true.
And there's some people in the Black community who've come out and point blank said that they don't consider Kaepernick Black because he's part white.
Well, and that he's had to have gotten quite a bit of that over the years. And I'm not saying that that's any bad. I mean, that's awful too. And I know this from a friend who has mixed race nieces, and they're still in grade school, and they often get ridiculed and kind of bullied, not by the white students but by the Black students because they're not Black enough and because their mom is white. And it can be rough. You know, it's not a great situation. You don't feel like you have, like, they don't feel like they're totally like belong to the kind of white kid club, but they don't belong to the black kid club, and they're kind of rejected in a way by both. And some of that's going to be this age anyways. It's so fickle. The one that they're at the like 5th and 6th grade level. That's just so awful. Middle school sucks. But, everybody clicks up. But that's a very real thing that happens too. And something that we often don't want to talk about is about these kids that are either raised in white, by white parents or mixed race parents, and how they're treated by the community. So I think I think that's a valid discussion to have. There's all sorts of things that he could open a conversation on and maybe affect some real dialogue and change. And he's got the money to really help a lot of people, but instead he's just going to sit on a bench and kind of throw a little media temper tantrum.
It's interesting. Ron just made a pretty good point in the chat room. He's actually comparing Kaepernick to Tebow, but calling him the anti-Tebow, because they're both controversial, but for very different reasons. And I actually think that was an interesting point. But we have hit the bottom of the hour. At this point,
Can't believe it.
Do need to take a break. Just want to make sure there's not anything else you want to talk about on this before we pay the bills. I'm going to guess that was a no.
Sorry, I thought we were out. I muted it.
See, this is what happens when your co-host doesn't actually listen to what you're saying. That's all right. I'm used to it. I'm married. Okay, so on this note, folks, we are out. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Got to pay some bills. You are listening to the Jenn and Rick Show live on KLRNRadio.com. We'll be back with you in just a few minutes. Don't go away.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Freedom is never more than one generation.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
I'm not ready to end the fight. I'm not ready to down. 'Cause I've been through hell and I don't have time to go round and round and round. It's too late to turn back now. You know.
All right, folks, we are back. We are live. This is the Jenn and Rick Show right here live on KLRNradio.com. Eventually, I'll stop tripping over my own tongue tonight. And before we get back to the show, just want to give a quick preview of next show. We have America Off the Rails coming up next with yours truly. I have Bill, a.k.a. Defend Wall Street, coming on with me to talk about Trump and some other things, so make sure you stay tuned for that if you are so inclined. It is getting a little late, so I understand if you want to check out the replay later, but that's fine too.
Oh my gosh, I'm so listening. I love Bill.
And
cracks me up because he's not everybody's cup of tea, but I've always
see. I
didn't know how to take him, man.
I love the guy, but he's just one of those people where every once in a while he'll just, because he has no filter, so every once in a while he'll just say something that completely sets everybody off, and I'm just like,
oh my gosh! And then people get so offended, and I'm like, you realize that like he does not care half as much as what you're getting your panties in a wad about. I mean, he's laughing at you. Oh, it's great. Awesome. Cool. I can't wait to hear that.
So, before we get to the pièce de résistance for the evening, otherwise known as another look at some more interesting information that's come from Hillary's email server, or what has been deleted from Hillary's email server, we do have a couple of primaries to talk about. Somehow, Debbie Wasserman Schultz has won a primary. How in the love of God did this happen? How?
I mean, it is a Democratic county. I am kind of shocked, though, with everybody being so mad at her about all of the, the fallout from the DNC and everything, with them thinking that it was rigged and, Hillary's nomination. Except for, unless this county is, one of those that was already pretty... It was not really like a Bernie type county anyways. And that I don't know. I haven't really looked into it enough to see what kind of Democrats they are. If they're Hillary type Democrats, then sure, of course they love her. But it says most likely she's going to win this thing. So she will be in Congress.
Ugh.
Ew, right?
Wasserman Schultz as a congresswoman. Where's Rod Serling? He's got to be here somewhere.
It's so gross.
I mean, dude, I don't know. To me, it just kind of proves the point that I've been trying to make all along now for several years, and it's the simple fact that people really don't pay attention to anything anymore except for whatever's grabbed their attention for the moment in the news cycle. I swear, in between the way our education system works now and the way they have TV set up to work and all the reality TV shows, etc., I swear we have a population with the attention span of goldfish.
That's fair.
Because it's like, oh, look, Wait, are we mad at her? Oh, wait, she's running for office? I don't remember what I was mad at her about. We should vote for her. I recognize that name, but I don't remember why. So let's go vote for her. It's like, I'm not referring to the latest movie because I haven't seen it, but Dory from Finding Nemo, that's exactly who the voting population reminds me of right now. Because they'll be in the middle of doing something, they'll know exactly where they're going, and 30 seconds later, they don't remember where they were going, what they were doing, or what they were doing it for. And they'll go, oh, well, we should go over here now. And that's what we've basically become as a populace, is people that are basically listening to sound bites, getting their little 30 seconds of what they think is great information, and running with it for the day until the sound bite runs out, then they go find another one. And it doesn't even matter if the two conflict with each other, because it doesn't matter what your opinion was yesterday, because you have a new opinion today based on what the media told you today. And that's exactly how Donald Trump's been running his campaign, and it's evident that it's working because everybody forgives him every time he changes tax. Doesn't matter how many times he changes his position. Doesn't matter how many times he walks back a position. Doesn't matter how many times he says, well, that's what I said then, but this is what I meant now. We have a bunch of goldfish that are like, oh, he changed his mind on something I don't remember. Vote Trump. And now we have the same thing going on with Debbie Wasserman Schultz, because the entire country was mad at her not 5 minutes ago. Now she's probably going to wind up in Congress. How does this happen?
I know. Oh, man. The joke that is politics at the moment. It's really kind of depressing. But in other news, I don't know, for some people they might not think it's good news, but Marco Rubio did win his primary pretty handily. They said he faced 3 or 4 other opponents or something crazy. And, of course, people were annoyed that he had said he would, retire if he didn't win the presidency, and then he decided not to. I think people make too much about that kind of stuff. He's a young guy and has been, has had a fairly successful career so far, and not want to hang up the hat just yet in a seat that was very likely to be his still. I get that. I don't blame him for it. But so he'll be he won his primary and will most likely win his seat again.
Little Marco going back to DC.
Where hopefully he will put up a good fight against President Clinton. Unless in jail.
Oh, please, can we just put her in jail now? I mean, really? I mean, dude, if there's anyone on this planet right now that has ever deserved to go to jail, it's this woman, and somehow she keeps managing to skate it. Everybody calls him Teflon Don. She's wearing freaking Teflon coating from head to toe, because no matter what they throw at this woman, nothing sticks. And again, the thing that annoys me, and the reason I'm going to bring this up again is because we're about to talk about Benghazi, is even folks that have been headlong, running straight into Benghazi, wanting to find out the truth, have backed down from things that we know to be true. Even Trey Gowdy lied to the American people when he said there were no assets in, near, around, or headed to Benghazi because there was an RDF force 90 minutes away. There was a drone and at least one AC-30 that we know of confirmed in the area, and we know that the weapons platforms were available because one of the men who died was using a laser designator, and this is not a pointer that you can get from Walmart. It only lights things up if there's something on the other end to receive the signals. So I'm still trying to find out why Trey Gowdy lied. I'm still trying to find out all kinds of things, but one thing that we do know today is this. And actually, before we do that, it's been a while since I've been able to play this, so we're going to play what I used to play all the time when we did the Hillary email segments. So bear with me for a second while I indulge myself.
She's a very slinky girl, the kind you don't want for commander. She will never let her guard down. Says it's her turn to be leader. Oh, girl. She likes her emails to be secret. She says it's none of your damn business. When she makes her move to conceal it, Miss Half-Time, she's never done no wrong. Oh, no. That girl is pretty.
And in the latest installment of Hillary's deleted emails, we've now discovered that she has 30 emails in the group of thousands that have been recently discovered that were deleted, that were part of the Benghazi incident. I have some audio I want to play on that real quick, and then I'll turn things over to my co-host because I've been talking a lot.
2? No, just pick another planet. Florida.
Buy one, get one free boneless wings.
Okay, so apparently that was not the audio that I thought it was. Okay, hang on a second. Somehow I guess I didn't remember to edit out the commercial.
Get one free boneless wings are out of this world. This is how you Sonic.
Approximately 30 of the 14,900
go.
deleted emails recovered by the FBI from Hillary Clinton's private email server may involve Libya, State Department lawyers said on Tuesday. An undetermined number of those 30 emails were not included in the cache of 30,000 the former Secretary of State voluntarily turned over to the State Department in 2014. Government lawyers told U.S. District Court Judge Amit Mehta, according to multiple reports.
Now, if you want to find more about that, you can find the full article with the audio, including the commercial that I forgot to edit out, on thehill.com. And yeah, it turns out that there were even more emails that she never turned over, most of them centering around Libya and Benghazi. So we know there was information on the so-called private server that was not properly regulated, which again, my whole stance on that is knowing that information like that was on that server is likely what led to a lot of the issues they had in Libya. So, but that's my take on it. So I'm done talking now.
Well, I find this interesting. Like, we keep, you know, initially when they were going, uh-oh.
You okay?
My connection just completely went wonky.
I
think I'm back. You hear me okay?
I was going to say you never left on my end, so I don't know what happened.
Oh, weird. It was like blinking at me like my Skype was going to go out, and then the chat room logged out. Okay. Anyways, whatever. This is like one of those things that has been so frustrating about this all along has been the way in which, so the FBI has been conducting their search, and then the State Department responds, and they, or their investigation, and the State Department responds, and, you know, they've needed months and months and months beyond whatever deadlines have been given to go through these emails, to do these things. Now the investigation is closed, and the State Department comes forward with these 30 emails that were not included, included in the ones previously provided by the administration or by Clinton. And now they need, another month to go through 30 emails. I guess there's more than just 30 emails, though, that were turned in. It's just we know 30 have to do with Benghazi. That they'll need, until the end of September to review and redact any information in those before they can release those. It's just been this long. It seems like it's just been like one prolonging after another so that we get her as far into the process as possible so that there can be no repercussions. And she's the nominee and she's going to walk into that Oval Office. So I think it's really, it's too little too late. Nothing short of her actually sending an email that says, kill the ambassador, make sure he's dead, I think will mean anything at this point. I do know that Judicial Watch they sued to get access to government records about all of this, and she now is going to have to. It's been approved. It was officially submitted to court. Some mandated questions about the email server and everything else that she'll have to answer under oath. And also in writing. That'll happen by the end of September as well. So I just don't really think any of this is going to bring about anything more. I think people, the part of the country that has always thought that this was a witch hunt is just going to roll their eyes at anything else. Like I said, unless her, anything short of her giving a directive to kill, pretty much, is going to be ignored, laughed at. I mean, Matt Iglesias today was making jokes about it. I mean, lots of, writers and journalists were kind of being like, oh, well, too bad the investigation's closed. I mean, they're all kind of making a joke out of it. So I don't think it really matters. But it does prove that people were right, that she was just, wiped it with a cloth? No, I didn't do that. It was only personal stuff. That she's a lying liar who lies. But I don't think we needed this to prove that.
Well, no, I mean, I guess the thing about it is all we're doing at this point is reinforcing to anyone who knew that she lied, that knew that this was important, that this was something that she was hiding things, and what she was hiding was important. All we're really doing is reinforcing things for those people, for the folks that, and like you said, for the folks that think this is nothing but a witch hunt. They think it's been a witch hunt all along. It doesn't matter. I think you could even trot out the email where she does say, make sure that the ambassador is dead because we can't let this get back to whoever it should have not gotten back to. And they would, that's fake. There's no way that happened. I mean, we could literally have found a smoking gun in that email trail, and all they would have said was, well, it doesn't really matter because it was fake. It had to be fake. Obviously, it was fake. These people have had it out for Hillary for forever. And that's part of what annoys me about this whole thing, because I keep coming back to this. We had, this should have been a softball knocked out of the park for anyone to run against Hillary except Trump. Because they're the only ones with equal amounts of baggage. They're the only ones that have almost the same stances on almost every single freaking position. And somebody got the bright idea to put him at the head of the Republican ticket. And now we have to face the consequences. So we can either hope against hope and vote for a guy that we can't stand just to try to keep somebody else from getting to the White House, or we can decide not to sell our principles down the river because we know that no matter which of these two idiots get in the White House, we're still screwed anyway. And there's no win for losing.
Yeah, and I would like to say that I know that you and I are both, we both have the luxury of being in states where our vote really is not going to jeopardize anything one way or another. I know that there's been these reports that Texas is going for Hillary. It's not going to happen. I just can tell you flat out right now, it's not happening. Oklahoma and Texas are going to go for Trump. And I don't know how much that changes the way that I think about this and how adamant I am about where I would like to say that it's not any different than if I was, say, in a swing state, but I don't know. I don't know because I'm not in that position. I don't have to get in that mindset, but I don't think so. I mean, I think that I so strongly believe that he is so damaging to all of the efforts that the conservative movement has made and the strides that the GOP has made over the last, especially 20, 30 years, that he's such a reprehensible candidate, and he is just absolutely destructive to all that we've built, that I would never think that was a move that I want to make, nor would I vote for Hillary, who, like I already said, is a lying liar who lies and has quite possibly a lot of blood on her hands. And we know that she's corrupt and crooked. So I don't think I'd react any differently, but, we are in a position that we don't have to, thankfully, even worry about that at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only thing that concerns me about the state that you're in is, for the first time ever, I see it creeping dangerously close to the margin of error. So I have to admit I am a little freaked out about that, but I still don't think it's going to go for Hillary.
Nah.
I really don't. Now, there are several others that have never been that close that I think have legitimately turned purple, and that's another thing that terrifies me, but I don't think Texas will be one of them.
No, and Texas will rebound too, because I just know from being around here and talking to people and even relatives and friends of friends and all of that, that you've got a lot of conservatives that aren't quite as, politically involved as we are. They're not as emotionally invested in this stuff. They're not, they're not history and Constitution junkies. And They don't live and breathe all of these things because, by and large, it does not affect your daily life if you are not directly involved in politics or reporting / writing, observing it all in a way that is, that makes it profound for you. A lot of people don't, and it's not that it doesn't matter at all to them, but for what they're looking at, they don't like him, but, they don't feel like they're completely compromising themselves by going to vote for him in the booth in November. Whereas someone like you or I, we do. We feel like we're absolutely, would be stomping on everything that we've been saying and fighting for and what our principles are and our value system is. And they don't have that kind of investment. So they also have that kind of luxury where they don't feel so conflicted about it. But I know most of them, at least a lot of the people, conservatives that I know, are not happy about his nomination, but they're not so, distraught over it, I guess, as we are.
I mean, like I said, I've never once told anybody how I think they should vote. I've spent most of my time telling them why it is that I can't vote for someone and why I'm not going to. Not to try to convince them, but to try to make them understand that that's exactly why we can't vote for him, because he's too. We've watched our party, or my former party, now continue to slide further and further left, all in the hopes of victory. When we get to the point where we've become exactly like the same people that we're fighting against, who's actually winning? Us or them?
Yeah, good point. And also, I do have to remember to step back a little bit. And what I was just talking about is how invested we are in all of this, in the conservative movement, in politics, in the direction that we go, via politicians in this country and the electoral, college and everything, that we're so wrapped up in that. And it's hard for me to step back sometimes and realize that not just the people that are ignorant and really don't pay attention, they just walk in and they push a button and they're like, woohoo, reset, build a wall, let's go. I'm talking about people that are intelligent and don't, but they just don't engage the way they do. They don't let it control their lives and eat up all their time. They're not scouring for articles about this or that and finding audio clips and, reading Twitter and going through all these things. I mean, they casually engage. And when I remember, when I try to remember how to step back and look at it through those eyes, it's a different prism. I mean, it's a different way to see it. And that's why I don't think that Texas is in danger, because the majority of your people that do go vote are coming from that place. They're not coming from the place we are.
All right, well, believe it or not, we have reached the top of the hour. At this point, we need to start making way for the next show, which is yours truly with my guest, Bill, otherwise known on Twitter as Defend Wall Street. As we do every night as we're wrapping up the show, why don't you remind folks where it is they can interact with you should they choose to do so? Get paid to talk for a living, can't pull it off. Wow.
Happens sometimes. You can come hang out with me on Twitter at @JHomestead. I won't promise to be nice, but I'll be interactive. And JR Homestead on Facebook, where I'm not there as often. And then come check out Misfit Politics at misfitpolitics.weebly.com.
All right, now I, of course, can be reached on Twitter at AOTR_host. You can hang out on the show's Facebook page that I do Monday through Friday, America Off the Rails, on Facebook. You can also shoot me a friend request at my professional Facebook page, which is Rowdy Ricky Robinson. And that's pretty much it. Unless you're old school and like to talk email, you can shoot me an email at ricky@thesparkradionetwork.com or rick@klnrradio.com. I will answer both. I don't usually answer them right away because I don't always have those accounts tied to my phone, because I still have an older phone and sometimes portable email in it. Don't get along, but I will answer as soon as I can. And on that note, folks, we have got to get out of here. America Off the Rails with yours truly is up next, and then after that we have the Rhino Report, so make sure you stay tuned. Want to give another shout out to Slick and Ron for hanging out in the chat. Hopefully you guys can hang out for the next hour, but I understand if you can't because it's getting kind of late, and I'll see you guys when I see you. Have a great night. Thanks for everybody who tunes in, whether it's live or Memorex. We really do appreciate it, and we will see you on Thursday. Have a good night.
America, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Freedom is never more than one generation